So, welcome back for the solutions. Time to check how you got on. If you haven't tried those 4 questions, pause and try them first. The first equation here is one of those ones you do not have on your specification. It's thrown in to see what you do with it, but you might recognise it. And form your triangle, but you need to keep c squared. And then you can rearrange it to work out the mass. And then you can substitute in the numbers from the question, being careful with the standard form, to work out your answer on the calculator. How did you get on with that one? So this next question uses that really tricky equation, tricky to rearrange. The good news is you get it on the formula sheet, so you don't have to remember it, but you do need to be ready to apply it. So here I've substituted in the numbers that I know first, and then I've solved where I can on my calculator to get it down to less parts. When I've got just those 3 parts left, I can make my triangle and then use it to rearrange the equation. So remember here the minus sign is showing us that this is a deceleration, not an acceleration. It's showing us that the rate of change of speed is a rate of change slowing down, not speeding up in this particular example. So the actual deceleration is 8 metres per second squared rounded. So our penultimate example is a particularly tricky one in getting your head around which is P1, which is P2, which is V1, which is V2. Just take a moment to check that wasn't a mistake that you made. And then you're prompted here to think about using an equation from the formula sheet. Don't always expect that prompt on the higher paper. My suspicion is that they will start removing that little tip and expect you to think to go to that equation sheet. Once you have got your head round which bit of the question is which bit of the equation, it's a nice straightforward substitution in, and then you can solve one side to get yourself down to the 3 parts for your triangle. Using your triangle, you can then rearrange the equation and calculate V2. You should also be expecting a value here because of your knowledge of the topic about what would happen to pressure and volume as they change. So the 1.2 litre answer should be something you'd expect to see. Reached our last example, and I hope you've been doing all right on the 3 that we've tried already. Let's look at this one on moments to finish. So this question is about turning forces, and the elephant is going to turn one way, but the duck and rabbit combination are going to turn in the opposite direction. So the principle of moments that we need to use is that in this balanced situation, the clockwise moments will equal the anti-clockwise moments. To calculate a moment, it is the force of the object times by its distance from the pivot. So the force here would be the weight of these objects. However, you've been given masses in grams. You could divide them all by 1,000 each to get their mass in kilograms and then times it by gravity, because weight is mass times gravity, so times it by 10 and work out those forces. And you could convert all of those distances from centimetres into metres, but you really don't need to, because if we keep everything in grams and everything in centimetres, we'll get our answer at the end for the elephant's mass in grams, and that's what they want. So let's not faff with changing it all. So the clockwise moment will be the mass times the 17 centimetres. The duck and the rabbit are together causing an anti-clockwise moment. So for the duck, we need to do the 4.6 times that 10, and then for the rabbit, we need to do 6 times 15. It's those 2 together that cause that anti-clockwise turning force. So the 46 needs to be added to the 90 to give a total turning force anti-clockwise of 136. That 136 must be the clockwise turning force because it's balanced. So we now know 2 out of 3 parts for the elephant. And that means we can now draw our triangle and use our triangle to rearrange the equation and find out the mass of the elephant. 136 divided by 17 tells us the elephant must have a mass of 8 grams. So, 4 questions practiced. I hope you watched the top 10 tips video and you used the strategies there to help you build that confidence through your practice of having a strategy to deal with the maths questions. When you see them, don't panic, just take a breath and stick to the routine. Now what's left to do is some purposeful practice. Go and practice. You've got lots of resources to do it with. That's how you'll gain confidence. I hope you found the video useful and good luck with your practice. You know that. Regular review gets a better grade for you. Regular review gets a better grade for you. Don't forget to
like,
so that I can keep making the videos.
comment,
Especially to request other revision topics.
subscribe.
So you can get notifications of when my next video gets uploaded.